Welcome back again to Bahamian Mathematics. If you like this channel and its videos, please like, subscribe, and share to see more just like this one. In today's video, we will be converting metric units of length. So get your calculators ready, and here we go. First of all, we need to remind ourselves what length is. And we know length is how long, how wide, or how tall an object is. And here are some examples that we saw in the last video. The length of a pencil, we can measure that. The distance between two cities, even though that's a long distance, we can measure it. The thickness of a pin, very small, yet we can still measure it. The length of a pencil, we would probably measure in centimeters. The distance between two cities, either meters or kilometers. And the thickness of a pin, probably millimeters because it's so small. And here's what happens when we multiply by 10. 10 times 1 gives us 10. That's easy. And if we look in the question, 10 has 1 0, and the answer, 10, also has 1 0. Let's see if a pattern develops. 10 times 10 equals 100. We can see 2 zeros in the question and 2 zeros in the answer. Here's 1, 2, and 2 in the answer. This helps us to understand how the pattern is forming. So 10 times 10 times 10, we can guess, since it has 3 zeros in the question, the answer will have 1 with 3 zeros, which is 1,000. 1, 2, 3 zeros. Here's 3 zeros, and now we know what to do. 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. It's not 40. 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 is 10,000. How about this one? 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros in the question. In the answer, I should have 5 zeros, making it 100,000. And last one, 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. That's 6 of those. Equals 1 with 6 zeros is 1 million. We're going to need to know this information as we go forward in converting metric units. And so let's look at length. And here's our centimeter ruler. The distance between one very small stroke and the next one right next to it, that very, very small distance is a millimeter. And if we put 10 millimeters together, that gives us 1 centimeter. And so the distance from one long stroke to another long stroke, the distance between 2 and 3, that distance, that is a centimeter. And we can take any stroke along the ruler, any long stroke between one number and the next, that's a centimeter. But also we can take any stroke on the ruler and count 10 small strokes, 10 millimeters in this case, and that would also be a centimeter. When we put 10 centimeters together, 10 centimeters is equal to 1 decimeter. And here's the distance between 0 and 10 centimeters. That distance there is a decimeter. We don't use it very often, but it exists. And now if we put 10 decimeters together, end to end, that would give us one of these that you've seen in your classroom probably. It's called a meter stick. So 10 decimeters is 1 meter. And let's continue. If we put 10 meters together end to end, that distance, a little long, that is what is called 1 decameter. And if we put 10 decameters side by side, that gives us 1 hectometer. And 10 hectometers finally gives us 1 kilometer. You've probably heard kilometer more than hectometer or decameter. And let's see how we use them. Let's imagine this chart of length has the meter in the middle, and we're going to multiply in order to get smaller units. And so in order to go from meters to decimeters, we multiply by 10. Decimeters multiplied by 10 gives us centimeters. And centimeters multiplied by 10 gives us millimeters. Let's start on the other end on the left-hand side. Kilometers, when we multiply those by 10, we get hectometers. And if hectometers multiplied by 10 gives us decameters. And if we take decameters and start with them and we multiply by 10, it would give us meters. Now let's look at going in the opposite direction, going in the left direction. From millimeters to centimeters, we divide by 10. And so we divide going in this direction to give us larger units. And so from centimeters to decimeters, we divide by 10. To get from decimeters to meters, we divide by 10. If we took meters and we wanted to find out decameters, we divide by 10. If we start with decameters and want to get hectometers, we divide by 10. And if we start with hectometers and want to get kilometers, we divide by 10. And let's dig a little deeper now. If we wanted to convert meters into decimeters, we have to first determine where we start and where we're going to end up. In this case, we're going to start with meters and we're going to end with decimeters. So we locate meters, here's the meter, and we want to convert that into decimeters. Where is decimeters? Well, it's one place to the right. And so to get from meters to decimeters is one step. That means we multiply by 10. Let's try another one. If we wanted to go from meters to centimeters, we can see we're going in the right direction to the right-hand side. And here is meters, and centimeters is right here. And we have to first go from meters to decimeters, and then from decimeters to centimeters. And each one we have to multiply by 10. So in order to get from meters to centimeters, we have to multiply by 10 and then multiply by 10 again. So we have two steps. When we multiply 10 by 10, that's the same thing as multiplying by 100. And here's another one. If we wanted to go from meters, convert from meters to millimeters, let's locate where meter is. Here it is. And we want to end up at millimeters, and we have to see how many steps it takes to get us from meter to millimeter. And so in this case, we have to go from meter to decimeter, decimeter to centimeter, and then centimeter to millimeter. And each step requires us to multiply by 10. And so we have 3 steps to get from meter to millimeter. And we know 3 steps is 10 times 10 times 10. And from the earlier slide, when we had 10 times 10 times 10, we can see there are 3 zeros in the question, 3 zeros in the answer. That means we multiply by 1,000. So from meters to millimeters, we will always multiply by 1,000. And let's use an example. If we had 4 centimeters and we wanted to know how many millimeters that is, to convert centimeters to millimeters, we locate the centimeter, the starting point, and then the millimeter, the ending point. And we can see from centimeter to millimeter, we're going in the right direction, which means we need to multiply. And it's one step, so we multiply by 10. 4 times 10 is 40. Let's try another one. If we had 5 meters and we wanted to know how many centimeters that is equivalent to go from meters to centimeters, we find meter, here it is. We find centimeter, here it is. And we determine how many steps it takes to get us from meter to centimeter. So let's see what that looks like. From meter to centimeter is 2 steps. And we know 2 steps, 10 times 10 is 100. So 5 times 100 is 500. 5 meters is equal to 500 centimeters. Another example. 2 kilometers is equal to how many meters? Let's find kilometers. And let's find meters and determine how many steps it takes to get us from kilometer to meter. We can see that it takes 3 steps from kilometer to meter. And so we multiply 10 by 10 by 10. That gives us 1,000. And so 2 times 1,000 is 2,000. So 2 kilometers is equal to 2,000 meters. And now let's see what happens when we divide rather than multiply, which means we are going to go from a unit on the right-hand side to the left-hand side. 80 millimeters is equal to how many centimeters? So let's start off by locating millimeters. Here it is. And then we want to find out how many centimeters that is. So we are going from millimeter to centimeter. That's going in the left direction, and it's one step. And so we divide by 10. So 80 divided by 10 is 8. And if we look on the centimeter ruler, we can see this distance is 80 millimeters. But you can see that the centimeter markings take us to 8. And so 80 millimeters is the same as 8 centimeters. Let's try another one. 300 centimeters is equal to how many meters? So we start at centimeters, here it is. We want to end up at meters, here it is, and determine how many steps it takes to get us from centimeter to meter. We see that that's going in the left direction, which means we need to divide. But by what? Well, from centimeters to meters is 2 steps, which means 2 steps we divide by 100. 300 divided by 100 gives us 3. So 300 centimeters is equal to 3 meters. And one more. Let's convert 12,000 meters into kilometers. Now, just because it's a big number should not scare us. Let's locate meters. Here it is. And let's locate kilometers. Here it is. We're going from meters to kilometers. That's going from the right to the left, which means we're going to divide. How many steps does it take? I see it takes 3 steps. And I know that 3 steps means we're going to divide by 1,000. So 12,000 divided by 1,000 gives us 12. 12,000 meters is equal to 12 kilometers. And now it's quiz time. Convert the following measurement. 50 millimeters is equal to how many centimeters? You have 5 seconds. Time's up. The answer is 5. To go from millimeters to centimeters, we divide by 10 because it's 1 step in the left direction. 50 millimeters equals 5 centimeters. Question 2. Convert the following. 6 meters is equal to how many centimeters? Meters to centimeters is 2 steps in the right direction, which means we multiply by 100. The answer will give us 600. 6 meters is equal to 600 centimeters. Question 3. Convert 3,000 meters into kilometers. Meters to kilometers. Time's up. To go from meters to kilometers, we go 3 steps in the left direction, which means we divide by 1,000. 3,000 divided by 1,000 is 3. Question 4. Convert 50 centimeters into millimeters. To go from centimeters to millimeters is 1 step to the right, which means we multiply 50 by 10, which gives us 500. And the last question, convert the following. 40 centimeters is equal to how many meters? This one is a little more challenging. The answer is 0.4. How did we do that? To go from centimeters to meters, we go 2 steps in the left direction, which means we divide by 100, and 40 divided by 100 is 0.4. And now you've solved the mystery of converting metric units of length. Well done.